This is TechCrunch. With Anduril's help, Australia has done what the U.S. Navy has struggled to accomplish: transition an extra-large undersea drone from whiteboard to under contract in just 3 years. Anduril announced Tuesday that a fleet of its XL uncrewed undersea vehicle Ghost Shark will begin operations in Australian waters next year under a massive billion-dollar contract. The 5-year award structure is the defense startup Holy Grail. It is a program of record that essentially locks in recurring revenue by becoming a line item in the country's defense budget. The contract for the platform, which provides long-range, stealthy surveillance and strike operations, covers delivery, maintenance, and continued development. It also reflects political urgency in Australia to field new capabilities in the Indo-Pacific to deter the rising threat from China. Anduril President Chris Brose said in an interview, "At the end of the day, this comes down to having seriousness, having imagination, and having will to conceive a new idea and bring it to fruition." And that's what the Australian government has done. Australia has fewer people, a lot less money, and many of the same bureaucratic challenges that our Pentagon has, and they have been able to accomplish it. The contrast with the U.S. is stark. The only undersea vehicle under development, Boeing's Orca, is years behind schedule. By comparison, Anduril and Australia co-developed and jointly funded Ghost Shark in 2022, each putting in $50 million. The first prototype was delivered in April of last year, 12 months ahead of schedule, and production has already begun. The program presents a new model for defense procurement. Anduril put some of its own capital on the line to de-risk Australia's otherwise rapid acquisition timeline. Anduril is not stopping with Australia either. SVP of Maritime Shane Arnott said, "Ghost Shark can be rapidly missionized in any country, meaning that governments can plug in their own payload modules as needed." Anduril has already produced a U.S. payload that is being tested off the California coast, and it has stood up a 150,000 square foot factory in Rhode Island to produce Ghost Sharks in the U.S. if a contract materializes. For Australia, the urgency is clear. It is the largest island nation with a small population and proximity to Western adversaries. Chief among them is China, which has rapidly expanded its navy and pushed its ships deeper into the Pacific, including conducting provocative drills off the coast of Australia. That pressure has made Ghost Shark a compelling solution. Perplexity, the AI-powered search startup that competes with Google by providing conversational answers to user queries, has secured $200 million in new capital at a $20 billion valuation, the information has reported. The fresh funding comes just 2 months after the company raised $100 million at an $18 billion valuation, according to a July report in Bloomberg. Since its founding 3 years ago, the rapidly growing AI company has raised $1.5 billion in total funding, according to PitchBook data. Now, it is unclear who led Perplexity's latest capital injection. Bloomberg reported that the July financing was an extension of a previous $500 million round completed earlier this year at a $14 billion valuation and led by Excel. According to a source familiar with the company, Perplexity's annual recurring revenue is approaching $200 million. Last month, Perplexity's head of communication told Business Insider that the company's ARR was more than $150 million. The funding comes as Perplexity positions itself as a challenger to Google's search dominance. In August, Perplexity offered to buy Google's Chrome browser for $34.5 billion. The offer came after the Justice Department, alleging that Google was acting anti-competitively, proposed that the company sell its web browser. However, earlier this month, a federal judge ruled that Google will not have to break up its search business, effectively allowing the search giant to keep Chrome. That's it from TechCrunch. For more bite-sized, crunchable tech stories like these, go to TechCrunch.com.